Hi, it's Kelli-Ann, and I'm back with another edition of a 5 in, 5 out support resource using Seesaw to create bell ringers, exit tickets, and activities in your K to grade 5 classroom. Once you're signed into Seesaw, you might notice that some of the features on your homepage have changed slightly. We're going to take a look today at the library. So let's first take a look at how to explore the library. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to click on Explore Libraries. From here, there's 3 library choices. The Seesaw Library is content created by educators for Seesaw. The Community Library is Seesaw users who've created content. And then third is our school and district library. So anyone within Prairie Rose who has Seesaw is able to make an activity and share it out to our school and district. We're going to stick with the Seesaw Library today. We can search by keyword. We can also come down here and we can choose any one of these quick subjects. We can filter by grade and we can filter by language. There's also the ability to browse by standards and curriculum. And it does include Alberta curriculum from kindergarten to grade 5. Let's take a look at what there is in the math subject. So we're going to select math. You can see now that that's sort of highlighted. We could then filter further by keyword. So let's go with fractions on a number line. I'm going to hit enter. So our search now has included almost 1,300 different activities. There's lessons. So we have 90 different lessons to choose from, as well as collections. So there are 17 math collections. Now, a collection is going to have both activities and lessons combined together based on some of those keywords that we searched. And so you'll be able to see here addition fact fluency, division fact fluency, subtraction, and so on. So again, these will include a combination of those activities and lessons within an entire collection. Let's head back over here to activities. So let's see if we can find something that is a fraction on a number line. Here we go. So we have fractions on a number line practice. So we can choose one of these by clicking on it. When it opens up, you'll see that it's given us the title of it. Look here under the standards, it even tells us where that falls within the curriculum for grade 3. And it's going to give us the activity as well as a lesson plan. We're able to edit this, so we can click on edit. It's going to open as the activity page, so we can change the name. So instead of practice, we're going to call this fractions on a number line. We can also edit the template by selecting it. It's going to open in the preview as a student mode, but you'll notice that we can actually make some changes here. So we can click on any of these elements and they're editables. We can come over to the right-hand side and choose the pages. And so we can adjust what we ask the students to provide for answers, or we could change these numbers to give different examples for the questions. And you can move through each of the pages and do that. If you are satisfied with your changes, you need to click on the check mark in the right-hand corner. We can edit the instructions for students. We could record our voice for instructions. You can include teacher notes if you plan to share this out with your colleagues or your district library. We're going to go ahead and click on save. That brings us back to the same page. So we haven't actually assigned it to our class. So we would be able to present it to our class here if we wanted to do a small lesson to them first. Again, the lesson plan's included, so it gives us, the teacher, some very specific instructions and tips on how to go ahead with this activity. Let's go back to the activity and we're going to assign this to our class. Before we go ahead and assign it, we know that we can choose here for our class that you have. Maybe you have multiple classes. You can edit your students or your groups that you'd like to assign this to. So if you're going to differentiate for any of your groups, you could go ahead and do it that way. But this is one of the best features that I think we should be paying attention to. If you're planning ahead and you found a bunch of activities that you'd like to be able to introduce to your students for bell ringers or exit tickets, and you don't want to all launch on the same day, you can schedule these to be posted at any time in the future. So you can toggle through the calendars. You can choose later dates when we come back from Christmas. You could choose the time of day that it's going to be launched to your students. You'd click save. When you're happy with all of these, if you're going to include a due date, and then you click on Assign Now. When your students sign into Seesaw, they're going to see in their Activities tab tab where there's this add response button once that date comes or when that activity becomes live. And let's just go ahead and take a look at our class and see what that looks like. So you can see my calendar here is jumped ahead to Tuesday, January 6th, and my activity is scheduled here. Let's see how we can edit something that's already been scheduled. So if I go ahead and click on edit here, I can adjust this date. It's that easy to edit it. Let's see what the teacher dashboard looks like. So when you have an activity that's been completed by students, you can go ahead and click on view responses, and you'll see that this gives you some quick data. So we know 3 students were done, 16 were not submitted. We haven't graded those 3, but we can scroll down here and we can actually see a quick view of the first page. So at a quick glance, these would be your student names, not numbers. You'd be able to tell who's submitted a completed piece of work. If you head back to the Seesaw homepage, explore libraries, we can quickly search for addition fact fluency using the assessments filter, and that's going to give us a really quick glance at some pre-made assessments that are intended to be assigned to students and completed quite quickly. They'll be already set up so that there are correct responses, add and subtract within 20. So again, we can see that there's just one activity here, and we can preview it as a student, or we could edit it. We can assign it to our class. Let's just take a quick look at what this would be like for a student. So again, the first page is instructions. So here the students have a drag and drop style response. So they can go ahead and just click on it and add it in. So you can see that this activity has 4 pages to it. So you might decide that you want to assign all 4 pages to your students, but maybe you only want to send them 1 page at a time. So in the edit mode, you could just click on these 3 little dots that appear here on the right-hand side for these pages, and you could remove a page. So an exit ticket is something intended to be done very quickly. So if you wanted to remove some of the pages, you could go ahead and do it that way. When you're satisfied with your changes, you can go ahead and click on the check mark. Then just like before, you'd complete the edit activity sections and click on save. Remember, this doesn't assign it to your class, so you still would need to go through the assign process, making sure that you've chosen the correct class. And if you'd like to schedule it for the future, choosing the right day and time that you'd like to have your students be able to complete those activities. This was a quick tutorial on how to access the Seesaw content library to be able to create bell ringers, exit tickets, and activities that you can use in your kindergarten to grade 5 classrooms if you're a Seesaw user. We can't wait to hear how you're using Seesaw with your classroom to support your 5 in and 5 out.